Attention, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of the Stratford Inland Wetlands and Watercourses Commission to order at 7 p.m. So, first order of business, approval of the minutes of October 18th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Waite.
Second.
Second by Angela. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. I'm going to ask for a motion to take new business out of order, 2023 in the interest of, theirs just has to be accepted, and we'll get them in and out. So I could have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Second by Mr. Chess. All in favor? Aye. Okay, you could come up. Just come up and say whatever you want to say. Take your time. Speak loud. Yeah, just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Barry Hammonds.
We'll go right over here, sir.
You can take the microphone off.
Yeah, there's,
It comes off.
you could take it right off.
Thank you for taking me out of order. My name is Barry Hammonds. I'm an engineer and land surveyor. My address is 311A Navajo Lane in Orinoco Village in Stratford. I'm here representing an application for Algonquin Lane in Orinoco Village. It's new business, and we're looking to have our application accepted tonight.
I see you have submitted everything that Kelly had asked for, right?
Yes.
Looks like you've submitted everything. Before I make a motion, ask for acceptance. Does anyone have any questions of Mr. Ham? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to accept this. That's all we could do at this time.
Make a motion to accept.
Second by Mr. Blake. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, Mr. Hammond. You're all set. All right, let's see what we got to do. We will move on to our next application. Just bear with me for 1 second. Application 2022-23, clear cutting inland wetlands. Is the applicant or is counsel here? Please state your name and address for the records, please.
How you doing? It's Willie McAllister, 255 Numbergut Drive, Stratford.
So, good evening, Carl Glad for the applicant. As you know, this started because of a potential violation for clear cutting in a wetland or upland review area. We then submitted an application for 2 properties in that. The Commission had a number of questions and concerns about that. We've submitted a revised application for 1 property with the conservation easement. You should have the entire package there. Ms. Kerrigan told us that she had everything, so that is where we are. I think the one question that was brought up last time we were here was related to a fence, a split rail fence running along the conservation easement. The Commission had requested that. What we would ask the neighbors, I had mentioned last time, really don't want that fence. One idea we had developed is that when the construction begins, the excavation, it's expected there'll be a number of large boulders coming out of the ground. Given the area, would it be acceptable to the Commission to use boulders with the signs embedded into the boulders as a demarcation of the conservation conservation easement line?
So I have to ask you, we see the staff comments from Kelly. You said you addressed them all with her?
We had, but she's not here, so I'm not sure what other questions she may have provided to you. So,
I think the only prudent thing, yes, Joe, go ahead. Anyone has any questions, please ask.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. So, how many boulders in what size and how far apart? You know, so if someone coming through, are they gonna see the signs? I mean, if they were 10 feet apart, they would see it, but if they're 100 feet apart, it may not do any good.
Yeah, so it'll approximately be around 8 feet, something so vehicles can't go past it or anything like that. And there'll be dozens and dozens of stones. So you couldn't go past it without noticing it at all.
So these boulders would not permit a vehicle to go through?
On some of the areas, yes. So you wouldn't be able to get down unless you went to the,
And then what kind of signage would it be? Would it be painted on the boulders, or?
we could do plaques, or I think plaques would probably be a better application so it won't fade out or anything. Or if you like, I can probably do boulders, and then every certain amount of boulders, we can do a post with a sign on that as well. So it'd be above the boulders and more in the sight, line of sight.
Yeah, I'm just thinking so that it's effective, because if people come through and they say, well, we didn't see it, it's like having nothing at all.
Yeah.
So as long as it's clearly posted, legal, visible,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
you'll see it. You'll definitely see it. Like I said, if you want, I can do every certain amount of boulders. I
Yeah.
can just add a post to it like 4 feet high.
Uh-huh. And is there is there a legal standard for signage when posted, no trespassing, you know, between signs on a posted property? Just no trespassing signs in the area that is our subject. Do the signs have to be a certain distance apart, a minimum area?
I think you can do that by agreement, or telling them how many signs that you want them to put up, if that's a condition of an approval, you know. So if you're not gonna have a fence and you're gonna have boulders and that's supposed to demarcate an area, you could tell them how many signs you want and how far apart you want them. I don't think there's anything in the regulations or specific separation.
I see. All right.
Any questions from anyone else?
You're looking for regulations, what size sign you would prefer. So I think we should address that. And the post, is it going to be on a post? Are they made of paper, or, you know, these things I think should be addressed.
There's other questions that Kelly had about the site plan. It's noted for 150-foot review, upland review area, but the upland review area in this location is 250.
Thought we had addressed that. Is she referencing the conservation area or the building area? I don't know.
I'm gonna ask I'll ask the commissioners, okay. Yeah, that's it.
So, I'm sorry, is she referencing inside of the area where the building is to be built, or the conservation area?
Attorney Glad,
Yes.
I think in the interest of, for our, you know, our commission, Kelly's not here, and I want to ask the commissioners, do you feel this is significant for a public hearing?
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Dr. Chess?
I agree.
Think we should have a public hearing, John?
Is this a high residential area
Well, it just,
on James Farms?
the problem is Kelly's not here, and there's a lot of questions left unanswered.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's,
All right,
I'll second a motion for and open for a public hearing.
all right, we need a motion first. Who wants motion for a public hearing? Joe makes the motion? Mr. Blake, second. All in favor?
Aye.
So I guess we'll have to have a public hearing.
Okay.
Attorney Glad, it's just the only way.
Yeah, no, I understand. Kelly's not here, so.
I know, she had a death in the family,
Yeah,
and
no, absolutely, I understand.
thank you, Willie.
No, absolutely. Okay.
And,
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, also, if we could get clarification on the signs, like the distance, the apart, the size of the signage, thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Okay, the next application.
I just want to also ask, is there any, do we know if there's a lot of family, homes nearby that are interested in this?
I think there are, but I won't know for sure, until Steve comes in.
Right.
Hopefully, these questions could be answered by that time. Okay, next application.
Sorry, and I know he just left, but why wouldn't we just tell him what the sign should be, right?
Well, I think we should.
Once we decide, I don't know that, right?
Yeah.
We can just
Yeah.
decide,
Yeah.
Well, I would
can't
think,
we?
Yeah, but we got to decide what we
yeah.
want.
No, I know, but he's gonna come and specify, and then we're gonna do this again, and say, well, what do we want?
You
So
know-
why don't we just dictate what we want, right?
Well,
Doesn't that make more sense?
Well, yes, we say what we want, but what is necessary? I mean,
No, I know, we need to do some research, I'm not refuting that, I'm saying we just let him leave thinking, hey, come back and tell us what you're gonna do. No, we'll just tell you what you need to do. That's a difference, isn't it? Right, I think we should let
Yeah.
you know. So plan on, we'll let you know.
Tell us what you want from the
Right,
signs, and
exactly,
that's
because we're
fine.
gonna just go back and
That's
forth.
fine.
Yeah,
And
you
then-
know,
okay.
Sorry. and
Uh,
then-
No,
Mr.
no,
Chairman.
No problem.
Sorry.
I'm done.
I was thinking that, like, there must be some kind of a legal standard. Like, if I had property and I was posting no hunting signs, or there is, I don't remember offhand what it is, but I've seen, the signs have to be a certain distance that someone determined is very reasonable, and that, an average person would be able to see. So if we could follow a guideline,
That's fair. I think maybe we could find, I'll do some research and see too, if we could find what DPW uses as their standard
Yeah.
for signs in Stratford, and then that should
and you.
sure,
be sufficient, I would think.
if it would work for, say, like, for deep standards,
Right.
then I would think it's reasonable to apply in this case.
And Carl, you could check with Kelly. She might have some ideas as to what signs she knows that would be appropriate.
Yeah, and I'll see, because we had addressed a lot of these issues with her, so I'll
Yeah.
see because maybe there was some
Yeah, just a
overlap there.
bit of
So-
confusion with her not being here.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
problem.
So we'll
All right.
address those with her.
Okay,
and then
thank
see
you.
where we go. All right, thank you, guys.
Everybody set for that one? All right. Next application, 2022-23, 2023-20, 19-lot subdivision. Teakwood.
Chairman, Commissioners, Chris Russo with Russo Rizio LLC, offices at 10 Sasko Hill Road in Fairfield, here on behalf of the applicant for a property you probably recall from last year. We had made an application for it. My understanding from Kelly was that this was just on tonight for a decision about whether or not to go to a public hearing. So, Chairman, I don't know how involved you want me to get into the presentation, but I could go over maybe what some of the substantial changes are from the prior application.
I'm going to ask the commissioners, because obviously we're going to go to a public hearing. Does the commissioners have any questions of Mr. Russo at this point? I don't want to have to give,
I can
stay
give you
here.
like a quick 2-minute rundown
Oh,
of
you-
the
yeah,
substantial
go ahead, sir.
changes,
Go
if
ahead.
if that would help. So just so you know, the big changes, and this is incorporating some of the comments we had from the last hearing, was the reduction from a 20-lot subdivision, it's down to a 19-lot subdivision. That lot was the lot that was closest to this wetlands area here. There's two wetlands areas, there's this one here, and this one over here. So it was reduced to 19, which removed a lot from here. so we have adjusted that now. So that's now entirely within our property. So, not to get into the whole presentation, but though, you know, we'll do that at the public hearing. But those are some of the kind of high-level changes that have been made since the last application. The other thing, Chair, too, is that I submitted to Kelly a request under your regulations for a fee waiver for this application. And, you know, fee waiver, I know the fees are broken up. There's the base application fee, and then there's the fee that you charge per regulated area, and then there's the public hearing fees. The Schedule A fee was really the fee that we were requesting a waiver from. If you remember the timeline of that application, I'll just run through it briefly, but there was a lot of plan changes that occurred in the beginning. It was a little bit of a process to get a plan set that was fully complete and how particularly Kelly had wanted. But we did have the application accepted in May of 2022. In June 2022, the commission voted to have a public hearing, but then we were unfortunately unable to have a hearing until September 21st. We weren't able to get on the July hearing, and then the August hearing, unfortunately, our expert was ill, and he couldn't attend, our engineer, who was critical to the presentation. So we had the hearing, which had been accepted in May. We had the hearing on the 21st, did our full presentation, the public commented, and it was after that that Kelly had suggested to the commission that there be a third-party consultant. That third-party consultant, the commission agreed. We received the proposal for the third-party consultant it was October 18th, so it was around the October hearing. And then we received the review from the consultant November 9th. And so it really just prolonged the duration of the application. It came to December, and we were running out of the statutory time frame to complete the hearing. So we withdrew to be able to take this time to incorporate the changes that we had received from the suggestions from the third-party consultant, but then also some of the neighbor comments. So we withdrew the application. And I had stated at the time we would be requesting this waiver when we came back. So that's what I'm doing. If the commission would entertain a waiver, again, I understand there's the base application fees and the public hearing fees. So if the commission, felt that still needed to be paid, we were more than comfortable with that. But the Schedule A fee, which is based on the amount of wetlands that's on the property, we would respectfully request the waiver of that fee per your regulations.
I'm looking at 3 pages of comments from Kelly. Were they all addressed? I mean, she said none of them were addressed.
For this application?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, on this particular application, the third-party consultant has already been, I don't know if they've been retained, but they've already provided their proposal to Kelly. And so they're gonna be submitting comments to us as well. And so we were going to wait for her comments. We have her comments, I should say. We were going to wait for the third-party consultants and then try to address them all together, and rather than.
We're just going to give you a copy of the comments in case you didn't have them.
And what we did last time, which actually seemed to help move things along too, is we had which we would seek to do this time, we had a conference call with Kelly and with the third-party consultant, all of us together to go through the comments, make sure everybody understand it, explain things to move it along quicker, because we do have these statutory timeframes to work through. So we would seek to do this. The good news is on this one, we're starting out with a third-party consultant right away, whereas last time, it wasn't until months into the application that the third-party consultant was brought on. So I think we should have sufficient time this time to respond to them.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Russo.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions of Attorney Russo right now?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Russo, could you please refresh me, what type of, this project is going to create a lot of impervious surface than exists. What type of sub-ground stormwater infrastructure will this project be using?
Yeah, Commissioner, unfortunately, I don't have our expert here, again, because my understanding was it was just the decision about opening the public whether there would be a public hearing, which, you know, I'm certain will happen, obviously, but, can you speak to it? So, I am not sure at the specifics of that. He will certainly present that. I do know, you know, again, we were able to, with this application from the prior one, pull back further from this wetlands, and what he relayed to me is that helped with, you know, again, removing the level lip spreader and being able to discharge directly into the basin, and that was really able to kind of help reduce the impacts, particularly around this large wetland here. So I apologize, I can't speak to the specifics of the engineering, but he will certainly be here for the public hearing to discuss that.
Yeah, so do you recall if you will be using Caltech?
Yes.
You will. So we had a representative from Caltech saying that they recommend the Caltech systems be regularly inspected and maintained to be effective. So I would think that the commission would require a legal contract so that we'll have some assurance that there will be maintenance on the system so that it will work as it's supposed to. Yeah.
You got to announce yourself.
Yes, I'm Joseph Giacobi, part of the project owner. And as far, I live in Trumbull, 23 Rocky Ridge Drive. And as far as the Coltex, like in other towns, we do make an agreement, the engineer signs it, and we file it with the deed, that the owner of the property is going to be maintaining and responsible, as long as they own the property, to clean, and there'll be some inspection ports on the top as well for the Coltex in individual houses. As far as the road, if there's any that gets collected, I would believe that that's going to be with the town. Anything that's in the public roads, but.
Well, and one of the nice things, commissioners, is if the property does get granted approval for this, it is bound by that approval document. And so the requirements that you would have towards that for, you know, if you put in there for regular maintenance of the Coltex, that would stay with the property. It would stay with every single property that was subdivided out of that. And so, and that would be on their title, and they would be bound by that forever.
I see. Is there a requirement that the property owner with the Caltech would have to maintain records of inspections or any maintenance done?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I see.
No.
It would just allow, if somebody did violate the requirements regarding maintenance, the town would have a mechanism, because they would have the approval on the record that there would be a violation there, and then you could violate that property owner, you know, 25 years from now. They would still be bound by it, and the town would be able to violate them.
Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
Mr. Blake, you have any questions? I see your mic is on.
Yeah, the same thing he's talking about. We don't want this burden of going out there draining out. The town doesn't. It's up to, like you said, each individual. I don't know if that's going to happen on 19 houses. So I don't know if you can have a like a condominium fee or whatever you come to propose, where maybe the town will take care of it by hiring this and be reimbursed or paid up front for it.
Yeah, I'd have to talk to the town. I don't know if that's a burden that they would want to take on, so I'd have to have conversations with Kelly about that. And then also, if there is some type of reporting that we could do, maybe that would be an option that we could require of them. I'd have to look into it, though.
Yeah, because I don't see 19 people doing it every time. I just don't see that. Someone's going to have to clean that up.
Yeah, I mean, part of the issue, this will, if these lots are created, these houses are built, it's obviously going to change title, and we have no idea 20, 30 years from now who will own those properties.
Right,
But
I
again, at
understand.
least the commission would know, as of this date, we have an approval in place that has this requirements on them, and it's something that's there in perpetuity. Long after we're all gone, those people will still have to reckon with that approval and the requirements of it.
Yeah, and it has to be an approved company that does this, I assume, not just the guy going out there raking his leaves out of it.
Yeah, and that could be a requirement, a condition that it be a licensed, professional for that.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
Thank you, Mr. Blake.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion on this particular project. There's just too many open-ended questions, and there's just seems to be a lot that's been dragging on. I think we need to have a public hearing on this.
We have a motion, second.
Second.
Second by Angela. All in favor for a public hearing?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Attorney Russo, thank you very much.
I don't think we're done.
The decision on the
Well-
fee waiver?
Yeah.
We gotta wait for Kelly to come
Okay.
back. That'll be decided,
Absolutely.
Mr. Haddad?
Yeah, so I just have a question about that. So you're saying the original application, you paid that fee? Right, it's just for this,
So
right.
so we paid the base fee, the Schedule A fee. and the
Right,
public
you're
hearing.
asking for the waiver now because it's a revised application?
Correct.
I got it.
But,
Okay.
but again, if it's, because I know that the town has associated costs
Right.
with an
No, I
application.
understand.
So there's I think it's $1,000 base application fee. So
Yep.
if the commission felt it was appropriate that we pay that, we have no issue with that. And then there's public hearing fees, so I think it's $500 for each public hearing. Obviously, we're gonna have public hearings on this, so we're totally comfortable with that. I think the Schedule A fee, which is the big bulk of the fee.
Yeah.
We would request the
I
waiver.
understand, okay.
Thank you, Attorney Russo.
Thank you.
We'll see you at the public hearing, I guess.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Mr. Chairperson, are we going to discuss this now or at the public hearing?
Public hearing.
Okay,
can't.
just asking.
We can't. Okay. Yeah, I got the thing. All right. Staff report, obviously, there's no staff here. Administrative permits, can't do that. Commissioners forum, I'd like to bring up the meeting dates for 2024. They will stay on they'll be on Wednesdays like they were. Everyone has did everyone get the copy? No, huh? You did? Okay.
We'll probably get it tomorrow.
All right, so if I could have a motion to accept those meeting dates.
Motion to accept 2024 meeting dates.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Regulation review. I guess we're down to adjournment already. So I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I just have
Second it.
something for discussion.
Wait, let Joe.
Does the town have a schedule for penalties for violations of stormwater maintenance?
Joe, I don't know. I don't know what the
Like,
mechanism
if
is.
somebody doesn't, Mr.
No,
Russo was
absolutely.
saying that everybody's going to be bound, well, somebody violates it, who's going to come up with what are you going to charge, $5, or is it going to be $100, or,
Attorney Sullivan, would you have an answer for that, maybe?
I don't have an exact answer. I mean, I know we do have fees for certain things, but it's something we should definitely look into, to figure out, because you don't want it to be an empty promise.
Right,
You know,
absolutely.
They're,
No. And Joe, also, I could tell you that I know from experience, if things got so bad that the town had to come in and actually do the maintenance, there would be a lien placed on the property. That's the main mechanism. That you-
I see. And as I recall, this property is the watershed, I believe, for the source of Yellow Mill Brook, or Yellow Mill, runs into Yellow Mill Channel, Remington Woods, and then
Yeah.
flows into Yellow Mill Channel in Bridgeport, and then into Long Island
I
Sound.
think that's correct, but I'm not positive.
Yeah. So the life of that waterway would depend on what's going on here in this project. So it's important. I think that's an important watershed that is,
Absolutely.
Well,
There's going to be a public hearing, so any questions, we know what we got to do. And this is a very significant project. We have to make sure we do our diligence on this. That's all we could do. It still has, it still has to get by us, then it has to go to zoning, and there's going to be all kinds of things. Any questions you have? Yes, Dr. Chess.
Yeah, so this is for Attorney Sullivan. So if I remember last time we met, you were going to bring forth some recommendations in terms of, I think it was addressing the storm water piece in terms of how we can make people accountable without overburdening them or the town.
I know I talked to Kelly about a few things, but I didn't realize that you were looking for a memo from me, but I'm happy to do that.
I mean, the guidance would be really helpful.
Sure.
Again, if they could do some reporting on a regular basis, if they don't report, then we know that we need to reach out and look for it, and if not, then there's some penalties. So that it's not something that we wait until things fall apart, and then do a lien type of thing, which again costs money and is a hardship, but works preemptively.
And I think that there are some mechanisms. I'm not sure how this one is going to be set up from a real estate perspective, but there are some mechanisms like a homeowners association or like a road kind of association. So I think we have to figure out exactly what their plan is, because we may be able to sort of work it in that way. There was a suggestion here, about that. Is it condo? How is it owned?
Right.
Because that's, that's part of how you could enforce it. I mean, obviously, for the homeowners themselves, it's important, but it's the impact, aside from them that we really have to look out for. So.
But it would be helpful if we had guidance for each type of situation. So if
Sure.
it is a condo, this is how we approach it. If these are unique, privately owned homes, this is how we approach it. So that each time we're not like scratching our heads and rethinking it, but we have some embedded guidance.
Sure.
Very good. All right, well, make a motion to adjourn?
Can I have one more question?
Sure.
Actually, that was my question before with the guidance. Kind of what he's saying, like, how often does the town and various commission waive fees? Is this a common occurrence, or is this as asked?
I think it's my experience is as a each, per case basis.
Per case basis?
Yeah, and they don't often waive them, but they have waived them.
Yeah, I will say that they will be paying a significant fee for the third-party review, again,
Yes.
thousands and thousands of dollars for that review. So, they're asking for the waiver of a very specific fee that is, and I do give credit to applicants that do withdraw when they say, listen, we're really not prepared to go forward, but they've already put in that investment. So it's not an unreasonable request, but it's up to you to make that, determination. But we will have a third-party review, which takes a little effort off, staff. And those are my thoughts. But it's not often that you have an application that's this large that gets submitted, paid for, resubmitted, and withdrawn. And so But it's up to you to make that decision.
All right, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.